It's fall again. The nights are growing longer, and the shadows start to stretch a little further out. Halloween is a time to remind us of the things unseen, things that creep in the night. To celebrate the season, this special Halloween episode of the Scooby Doo Files, we're looking back at one of Mystery Inc.'s most complex cases. The Phantom Shadow is a figure forged from greed, moving through an old mansion where the line between family and fear blurs. Tonight, special case file, The Phantom Shadow.
This is to be recorded as an ongoing series as part of my final will and testament. Now, Cousin Simple, a final will and testament is when someone who has passed away gives all their earthly belongings to the remaining friends and family. My name is Colonel Beauregard Sanders. I served in the Confederate Army. I have many regrets in life, but many of those regrets are what earned me what I am now leaving to y'all.
Like many great stories, our mystery tonight begins with an act of heroism. Returning the favor to Scooby Doo, Colonel Beauregard Sanders, of no relation to the famous Chicken Man, wrote him into his final will and testament. But this reward came at a cost. Staying in the Colonel's spooky island castle for an entire night. Scooby-Doo wasn't the only heir to this will. He was to share it with 3 cousins and a nephew, relatives of the deceased colonel. Cousin Simple, a name anyone could see why he was given, except for himself. Cousin Slicker, who was proud to live up to his title. Cousin Maldehyde, and Nephew Normal, the colonel's favorite.
Greetings, y'all. Cousin Simple, Nephew Normal, Sweet Cousin Maldehyde, Cousin Slicker, and my old friend, Scooby Doo. Now that you're all here, may as well get down to the nitty-gritty of inheriting my fortune. Y'all are going to receive an equal share of my fortune, $1 million, providing that you stay one night here in the old family mansion. The house is haunted. Yes, haunted. And those of you that don't stay, your share of the fortune will go to the others.
At 10 o'clock, the lawyers present for the event suggested everyone go to bed. Retiring to his room for the night, salting and peppering his late-night snack, Shaggy reached for fish food, which angered the pet fish in a nearby bowl. Meanwhile, Scooby was preparing a much-needed bath, but was taken down a slide after a spook spied on him. He fell into a pile of coal, but the thrill wasn't over yet, because once at the bottom, there was a specter waiting to give chase. Scooby ran through the wall back to the gang and explained what happened by using shadow work. Shaggy knew immediately what the dog was talking about. Scooby-Doo investigated the bathtub. The Phantom Shadow snuck out of the clock and sauntered across the house, including upon Cousin Simple. The gang heard noises from Cousin Simple's room.
Like what was that?
All that remained was his nightcap. An ominous message was left on the mirror signed, The Phantom Shadow. After resolving to return to their rooms and lock the doors, the gang came up with a brilliant plan. They made a perfect replica of Scooby-Doo in order to trick the Phantom Shadow, who was sure to invade their unlocked room. When the Phantom Shadow goes to grab Scooby, they would jump in and grab him. The drain snapped, dropping them safely into a cave, leading them to underneath the castle. They found footprints in the cave floor.
If he's a phantom shadow, how come he leaves footprints?
Continuing into the cave, they find Civil War artifacts, which the Colonel used to collect. One Confederate jacket began floating in the air, flapping its sleeves like wings. They entered an elevator which brings them back up to the same spot as they were before. Their escape turned out to be a trap. Upon Scooby making mocking faces at the jacket, it just turned out to be a bird. The elevator led to Cousin Slicker's room, but Cousin Slicker wasn't nowhere to be found. Upon checking the other bedrooms, the other cousins were also gone. This truly was a night for fright. As the gang went to investigate further, the phantom shadow pursued, chasing them towards an organ. On the organ, the words, "Feed the organ and watch the floor," were written. Upon reading this, Shaggy realized that he was hungry. Scooby agreed. Fighting through the hunger, Scooby showed the gang one of his other unknown talents, playing the organ. The walls began closing in on the gang.
The good thing about Cousin Simple is you can trust him with anything you need. He ain't smart enough to pull one over on you. Wish I could say the same about old Slicker, though.
Shaggy realized that the only thing that can stop the walls from closing in was by playing the organ. Velma noticed the word feed is composed of key notes. Upon playing the chords F, E, E, D, a doorway opened to secret stairs in the floor leading to catacombs. And that's not all. There were 5 coffins. 4 were closed. The 5th and final coffin was shaped like Scooby Doo. Suddenly, the coffin lids opened to reveal the cousins, alive but unwell. The phantom shadow appeared, and he wasn't alone either. Now there's 2 of them. The gang scooped Scooby and ran, carrying him over their heads, but upon leaving through the door, Scooby was knocked unconscious by the overhead. Shaggy dumped water on Scooby to wake him up. When that didn't work, a Scooby snack did. The phantom shadows are quick to pursue, until one phantom stopped, confused. Shaggy and Scooby were able to hide in a chandelier 15 feet above them, but above Scooby and Shaggy, a ceiling tile opened up above the chandelier, and the hand of a phantom shadow clipped it, dropping them through the floor with the crash into a wine cellar. The other phantom shadow approached them, laughing. Quick to action, Shaggy and Scooby began pulling the corks of wine bottles to assault the phantom shadow. As the other members of Mystery Inc. ran past, a phone began ringing. Velma stopped to answer it before informing the phantom shadow the call was for him. She handed the phone to the phantom shadow, who stopped chasing them to answer before putting the phone back on the receiver. To this day, nobody knows who called, although we do have some theories.
Sweet Cousin Maldahide. You always kind of creep me out, but I do love you. After all, family is family. Nephew Normal, I wish I could have gotten more time to spend with you. I hope you can remember me for the old cod I became, rather than the man I once was.
Shaggy and Scooby rode away on a bicycle before realizing the phantom shadows were sitting in the other 2 seats. Shaggy and Scoob jumped off the bike and ran through a door. The detectives used the only choice available, what anyone would have done: dress up like a Confederate soldier and his wife to confuse the phantom shadows and lead them in dance. They started the record and danced them towards the stairway in the floor after playing the keys, "Feed," on the organ. Velma noticed green on Shaggy's hands, which was not present before dancing with the phantom shadow. Something clicked for Freddy, who suggested they head towards the laundry room. He had a plan. They would set a fan to blow the phantom shadows across a soap-soaked floor and into a washing machine. They tested this on Scooby, finally granting him his much-needed bath. Shaggy straddled the washing machine to snap the lid shut once they have contained the phantom shadows. But Scooby turned the fan on too soon, sending Shaggy and the washing machine towards them. Abducting Scooby and the fan, the washer machine became a propeller-driven flying machine. The washing machine flew out of the window into the night air and then back into the cave, where the phantom shadows were waiting for them. In the weaponized laundry unit vehicle, Shaggy and Scooby were now chasing the phantom shadows through the castle. The hunters were now the hunted. The ghost slid down the rails of a staircase, but Shaggy was already at the bottom, waiting. He slapped the lid shut and set the cycle to spin. After the disguises were washed away, the phantom shadows were revealed to be the lawyers. Who would have thought Mr. Creeps and Mr. Crawls were not trustworthy? None other than the hard-working teenagers in Mystery Incorporated. With the cousins scared off from the premises, Scooby Doo was the sole heir of the fortune, or rather, the misfortune, as the $1 million was all in Confederate money. But the disappointment was not long-lasting, as a floating bone in the air found its way into Scooby's mouth, a delicious mystery left unsolved.
I leave my final message to a pup named Scooby Doo. They say dog is a man's best friend, and you sure was mine. I can never pay you back for what you have done for me, but I hope this inheritance is some consolation. I know this Confederate money ain't worth pennies on the dollar anymore, but I see it as a symbolic gesture towards our priceless friendship. I sure do hope that when I go, my spirit can remain on this earth long enough to give you one final Scooby snack, or that I get reincarnated, maybe as a floating bone or something. I don't know.
Hi, we hope you enjoyed watching that video. You know, Halloween has always been about more than just the scares. It's about coming together, and in its own way, Scooby Doo has been doing that for generations. If these videos can do the same, then we're doing something right. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Scooby Doo Files.